All right, I'm not sure if you can hear me or not. Barbara, let me know if you can hear me. I see and hear you. All right, we're going to start again here. I'm sorry about the glitchiness. I don't know why that is happening. Okay. Let's continue on, and if it gets too glitchy, which I think it's already maybe acting a little glitchy, I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to try again. If it gets too glitchy, we will just call it a day, I think. All right. Maybe by the time I get to past the place of what I've already done, people will be back on. Oops, I forgot to stamp off on that one. It's fine. That's in the area where there's going to be another tree anyway. So, all right, I think that's good. All right, now, oops. Let me close out of this for a second. Close out of this. All right. What I was getting ready to say is I'm going to use this die here as kind of a guide for the placement of all my other elements that I've got going on here. So let me slide this over here. Get that out of the way. I have already, oh look, here is the piece I should have die cut on. Stamped on, but that's all right. There's my mat. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start building my scene. And what did I do with the, trying to just, oh, here it is. And so the first thing is I'm going to adhere my two mountains together like this. But before I do that, I am going to add a little bit of ink I'm going to add a little bit of ink to the mountains just to give it a little bit of dimension. So, just with my blending brush, right there. And right there. And my old olive, I am going to ink up my trees. Just a little bit, just so it's not so flat. Oops. I guess that mountain can have a little green on it. So I'm just adding some ink here with a blending brush. All right, now that's all done. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is adhere this smaller mountain, or the further away mountain, it's not really smaller, behind. That way I only have one piece to manage when I adhere them together. Something like that. Except I don't want that. And then I don't need this anymore. All right, let's bring this back. This is going to go something like this. And then again, I'm going to use this as I compose my scene here, just to make sure I get things where I want them to be. All right, so the next layer is this layer of trees. And I made all these pieces wider than I needed, so that gives me some room to work with. Okay, and then I am going to do this bushes layer. And it's going to go something like that. So let's put that on. Oh, and I forgot, I did not die cut my my water. So there is a dye here that adds some water texture right here. So let me run this through my die cut machine real quick. And I'm going to do that off to the side because it gets to be real wiggly. All right, so now I've got some water. Do you see that water texture there? And I just want the tops of these bushes to peek out above my river right here. I'm not worried too much about this area right here because I'm going to cover that up with trees. So that looks pretty good to me. So let's go ahead and adhere that down. Just checking my composition, looking pretty good. Okay, I've got the foreground bushes now. And I'm just trying to decide how much of that water is going to show. You see how I'm using this dye to see what my composition is going to be like. I like that, so I'm going to do that. I do want some of that water detail to show, so I'm just playing around with that. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now I am ready to kind of adhere this down to my white piece. And a lot of this is going to get cut away, so I'm not too picky. I do want to see some sky above the treetops. So, and I do want to get some of that grassy green in the foreground. So I am playing around with this till I'm happy. I think that looks pretty good. All right. So I am now going to just go ahead and run this through my cut and emboss machine, and then I'll show you what that is like. Okay, I'm running it through. And when I get to those layers, I really do have to kind of muscle it through. Ugh. Hey, Evie, it's good to see you. All right. So now, let me show you what I've got after running that through. Where there's a single layer, it does cut through, but during the, where there's not a single layer, you can see that it doesn't cut all the way through. And I could go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it's just not going to do it. It's too many layers. But you can see I have a really nice guide now of where to trim off the remaining part here. So I'm just going to take my snips and work my way around here. Oh, I got to tell you guys, Roman's here. That's why I had to go to Kansas City last Tuesday at the last minute to go get him. I found out at the last minute that I needed to go to Kansas City to get him. So that's why I didn't do a live last week. But anyway, so he's been here, and occasionally I bring him up here to work, and I sit him at my desk because I have big monitors, and he can watch his YouTube videos, his whatever he watches. and I have my laptop, and I'm working off to the side, right? He gets the primo spot. I get pushed off to the side, which is fine. But anyway, I was working, and he said, "Papa, can I use these?" And it was a small. Here, I'll show you. It was a stack of these Post-it notes, right? And I said, "Sure." And anyway, I was busy working, and he was busy. Before I knew it, I went over to my desk, and it was just a humongous mess. And he said, I said, Roman, you've made such a big mess. And he goes, "I'm crafting." So what could I say, right? I was like, oh, okay. I thought it was very funny. All right. I am just taking a little sandpaper block here just to make sure that these edges are all nice. And look at that. Isn't that cool? And now what I'm going to do, see, this is a leftover, the negative pieces of when I cut out this tree line before. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to snip off some of these. And I'm going to create an additional tree line behind here. And you saw me earlier when I was adding shading with the inking. I did the top here too, because I knew I wanted to be using these pieces, and it just kind of completes the scene, you know, adds depth. All right, and I need a few over here. I want to sneak it in here. Let's see if I can create some room here. I got my glue a little close right there. There, that worked. All right, so just adding those trees right there, it just creates a better scene, I think. All right, that's it. All right, we've got our detailing on the edges of all our layers, and it's going to look super nice. All right, let's start putting this together. All right, first of all, we're going to add our DSP layer. And this is a top folding card base out of Old Olive. Don't worry about the measurements. I already have the recipe typed up, and I will post that after the class tonight. So stay tuned for that. And I think I knocked a little piece off here. So what I'm going to do is trim that off, and I'm going to get my pecan pie marker and just fill in this little piece, just so that white right there is not as noticeable. And no one will ever know, except you guys. All right. Now, you could pop this up. I didn't, because I'm going to be popping up the tree and I'm going to be popping up the sentiment as well. So I'm just going to do this flat, but you certainly could if you wanted to. I really do like the blue sky, I gotta say. You can see that it's not quite as stark as that white sky. It looks so much more natural. I mean, I like that as well, but I think this is a little bit better. All right, there is that. Here are our die-cut trees that we're gonna add. And I did forget to add some shading to that, so let me do that real quick. I just think this little trick of adding some blending onto die-cut pieces, it just adds so much to your card. All right, I am going to pop this up, so let me grab some dimensionals. I have some mini dimensionals too. I'm just being cautious because there's some die cut out pieces and I don't want them to show white. So I'm being careful about where I put these things. All right, that should do. It's going to go here. And that just, there's so much dimension on this card with all these layers and then popping that up. It's just super, super nice, I think. All right, now we've got a linen thread double bow that we're going to add, which I've already tied because with my man fingers, I didn't want to have to be tying a bow on camera. You're right, Evie. I think anybody who loves the outdoors would love getting this card. I agree. So I'm going to get a glue dot and I am going to put this bow, let's see, right about here. I'm going to press that knot onto that glue dot. There we go. And then I have got my sentiments already stamped and trimmed. So, what I was going to tell you about this also is for almost all these pieces, except for that, me messing up the white one there, I've used scraps. I've used my scraps to put this together. All right. So, this is going to go here, and I am going to pop it up. So I need some mini dimensionals on this end. Because it's going to go across the trees that are popped up, then I am just going to put seal on this end. Go take the backing off. All right, and then this is Fussy Cut. What did I do with my scissors? I know I had them here because I was snipping. Oh, here they are. Man, I'm a little bit of a mess. It always happens. I'm all together and then it starts being glitchy and then it throws me. Good thing you guys love me because I'm never going to be one of those all together all the time people. I'm just not. All right, look at that. Now for the finishing touch. I've got these Neutrals adhesive back sequins. And really, any of these would work, but I thought, what a perfect time to use these really dark brown ones. I don't know. What do you guys think? Michaela Titheridge from the UK used these white ones. But I used the brown ones. You can see here. Because I thought, what other card am I going to use these brown ones on? This just seemed a perfect one for brown. But there's gold, there's white, and then there's, I would say, copperish. What do you guys think? Which color should I use? Should I go ahead and use the brown? Or should I use the white? Hey, Carol Patterson. Yes, I don't. You're right, Barbara. Who is together every time? I think I'm going to go ahead and use the brown because, like I said, when else can I just use brown on a card? This is just the perfect one for these brown sequins. So, technology did not win. The glitches did not win. It did not keep me from making a very pretty card that you're going to love to send out to somebody that you love. What do you guys think? You guys like this card? And you can see the difference between inking up or blending the sky and not blending the sky. I really like the blending of the sky. But what a pretty scene that we've made. Building it. I like how that circle there and cutting everything out in that circle focuses the everything, you know, as opposed to the other card that I show you, this one that just goes across the whole card. I love this card too, but I think this is a step up. All right, well, that is it, ladies. Another great card. Remember, this is using the Scenic Adventure bundle. Here is that, and here is that. And it will help you make some very, very pretty cards. I think we have Roman through next week, so stay tuned. I'm going to try and do another live next week. But, you know, while he's here, things may change. But hopefully I will. But now it's your turn to make a beautiful card and send to somebody. I am going to go through the comments, and I'm going to select a winner. I'm going to post the recipe for this card, so in case you would like to make it, you can. And I'll see you next time, everybody. And thanks for sticking with me through all the glitchiness. Someone's going to get a very pretty card. All right, see you next time. Bye, everybody.